Hi everybody, my name is Everett. Welcome back to my channel. Now, some of you may know me as just a violinist, but other people actually don't know me as a violinist. They know me as an actor and a filmmaker. I've written, produced, and directed different things. I also do editing. I've done on a number of short films, but also a couple of feature films. But the reason why I wanted to touch upon today is because today's a very special day. It's October 13th, 2022. 50 years ago today, something miraculous, but something tragic also happened, was the Andes plane crash. And for those of you who don't know about the Andes plane crash, it was a rugby team along with several family and friends and a couple of people who weren't connected to them, including the flight crew, including the crew of 40 passengers, 5 crew, who disappeared in the Andes Mountains in Argentina. They were a rugby team who were flying from Uruguay for a match in Chile, and that's basically across the continent of South America, the southern part of South America. In the end, no one thought they had survived. They couldn't find the plane, they couldn't find the wreckage or anything like that. But 2.5 months later, 2 of the survivors walked out, and their names were Nando Parado and Roberto Canessa. They climbed out and made it to the mountains of Chile, where some farmers helped rescue them and got them to safety, and also went back for the remaining survivors. Now, there had been more survivors before the time, as time had gone on. But ultimately what ended up happening was there were avalanches that took the lives of 8 other people. There were some injuries, even starvation that took over a couple of the other survivors, and by the end there were only 16 of them left. To this day, 15 of those survivors are still alive, and I'm happy to report that when I was 19 years old, and this was back in 2010, 12 years ago, I had no idea about the story at the time. I'm sure I'd probably heard of it in passing or something, but honestly I knew nothing about it. And I was cast in a film called I Am Alive, Surviving the Andes Plane Crash. Now, not here to launch into a big thing, but I wanted to remember this is the 50th anniversary for the survivors. It really was, for me, to be part of something. And I'd always wanted to be in a documentary, to be a part of a real person's story, or in this case, several people. I never could have thought I would be connected to this kind of story. But the reason why I always wanted it, I always kind of, as an actor, was a bit jealous of other actors who got to play in reenactment parts in documentaries, was that they were playing somebody real, and preferably I hoped to play somebody who was still alive. That way I could, make a connection. And luckily I got invited by a couple of the survivors. I connected with some of them. I actually got invited by the wife of one of the survivors, Laura Strauch, who is married to Eduardo Strauch. I became friends with her, and we're still good friends to this day. She's probably the best friend that I've made throughout this whole thing, which was a surprise. I expected to connect with some of the survivors, which I did, but she ended up being my best friend through that, and we're still good friends to this day. And I admire her and adore her very much as I admire Eduardo, her husband, who's an amazing architect and an incredible painter. I love his paintings. And then, of course, Gustavo, who I was blessed to play, and I'm not sure if I said his last name yet, but Gustavo Zerbino was the survivor who I played. He's such a funny guy, and I think I look like him. And people said, no, you guys don't look alike, and I'm like, nah, I think we do. In fact, with the beard, I think I look even more like him to this day. But to have played, and I was the same age as him. He was 19 when the plane crashed, and to have played him at that time, and look at me in this picture, as it's a screenshot from the movie, so young and full of life and hope. What happened? No, if anything, God has blessed me even more to this day ever has back then, because I was a very different person back then. But one thing that has resonated with my life is that this story, it's the smallest part I've ever had. I got credit for it and everything. Everett Scott Ortiz as Gustavo Zerbino. But for me to have played in a real story with real people, connected to real people who were college students, who were fathers, mothers, married couples, people who were getting ready to get married, all of these different people, that's something that as an actor you can't recreate with a fictional story. You can make friends and things like that, but to have played somebody real and be a part of a real history is a blessing like no other. And the fact that you can share this with other people, you can share movies with other people, but to share a real story that even they didn't know about maybe is the biggest blessing that I could ever ask for. And to be part of something real, that is the most I could have ever asked God for, and it's the most I would ever ask him for now. And so I'm thankful that these survivors have grown together to tell their stories, gotten married, had beautiful families. And these are the Uruguayans, by the way. And to had the honor to play a Uruguayan, because I'm a mix of many things. I'm Italian, Spaniard, Native American, Navajo Native American, and Middle Eastern. They kind of look like us. The Uruguayans can be blonde hair and blue eyed and to dark. They can look like anything. They have many Italian influences, many Spanish influences, many French. They're even Scandinavian blood down there. But to have been the American that I am and to play a Uruguayan, a small country of 3 million people in South America, that's just as cool of an honor right there. I really like the Uruguayans. It's a blessing to, as an actor, to be able to play different cultures and things like that, and to play different nationalities, be connected to people from different places. So in honor of the 50th anniversary of the Andes playing Crash, I hope to share the story with you guys more and more, and I hope to talk to you soon. All right, God bless you all.